You might have to. So.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Just getting a couple of last minute things together. Gonna hop back on here live. Sorry, my countdown timer doesn't seem to be working as well as I would like for it to today. Definitely not going to be 10 minutes though. Probably be ready to hit this sucker by about 9:05. So those of you that are hanging out, hang out for a couple more minutes and we'll be right with you. Hey, good morning again, folks. Thank you all very much for being here. Do me a favor, if you are watching the live stream, hey, good morning, Dave. Everybody that's watching able to see me and hear me okay? Hopefully I am coming through loud and clear. Guys, if my audio is good, do me a favor, throw a 1 in the chat for me or just say, yeah, you can hear me. And man, folks, today is what, April 15th for those of us here in the United States. And, so tax day, last day for those of us that are living in the United States to be able to get our taxes done on time. This is always an interesting time of the year for crypto folks. Good. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Always an interesting time of the year for crypto folks. And for those of you that are new to the channel, if you're just coming on and seeing this for the first time, my name is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And on Mondays, we kind of go over some of the things that can kind of derail your dreams in crypto. A lot of it is mindset. There's so many people in crypto that don't totally realize how important, mindset can be when it comes to all of this investing journey type of stuff, the emotions that you're going to go through, the ups and downs, the highs and lows. and everything that you're going to go through on this journey to create financial freedom for yourself through cryptocurrency. There's a lot that goes into it. So one of the things that I really am super, I'm a big believer in is personal development. Jim Rohn says that, you can do better because you can get better. And so many people in life don't spend any time working on themselves. They don't even realize how important it is to work on themselves. And so therefore they go through life and nothing really changes. I think Jim Rohn is also responsible for saying, nothing changes until you change. And so anyways, folks, the reason that I wanted to do this video today on this specific topic, a couple of weeks ago, we really talked about money and how to get your mind right when it comes to money. And then we've had some strategy sessions, some tactical sessions, but I kind of wanted to go back to the beginning. And, today, the title of this video was, something along the lines of protecting your crypto dreams. And so what I wanted to do, folks, was sometimes I forget I'm quite a ways along in this journey. I've been exposed to personal development and reading books and listening to, tapes and CDs and seminars and now I listen to a lot of good guys on YouTube, and I've been doing this for, 25, 30, I guess, man, since I was a young man, 10, 12, 15 years old, and I'm 50 now. So 35 years or so that I've actually had this, on my mind. But one of the things that I found when I was very young, and maybe you haven't heard about it yet, you probably have, but maybe it's never really been explained to you this way. But folks, there's a lot of dream stealers out there. And for, just a sake of simplicity, what is a dream stealer? A dream stealer is somebody that when you go to them and tell them about your goals and your plans and your dreams and the things that you want to accomplish, they do exactly what it sounds like. They steal your dream. And a lot of times, folks, it's well-intentioned, well-meaning people. Some of the worst and best dream stealers, I call them, some of the best dream stealers because they're good at it. But it's also coming from some of the worst places are the people that are the closest to you, that you love and respect and admire. If some stranger were to come tell you that crypto was a crazy thing and it's, horrible asset and you shouldn't be investing money in it, may or may not make any difference to you. But if you're talking to your mom or your dad or your sister, your brother, best friend, your boss at work, somebody that you really respect, and you're talking to them about your crypto dream, and they start poo-pooing on crypto, and especially in times like this where this market, over the last few days has not been pleasant, and very easy to start to doubt yourself and to wonder if you're on the right path. And so, folks, I've seen it my whole life from when I was a young man and I was starting out into business. Every time I would go into a new business venture, I learned very quickly who not to even mention it to, because the last thing that you need is people in your ear giving you bad advice. Most of these people that are telling you that crypto is not the answer have never created any success in their life. Most of them have jobs that they hate. Most of them are living paycheck to paycheck. And folks, you gotta get used to breaking through that noise and not worrying about what other people think, and only taking advice from people that are where you want to be or that are heading in the direction that you want to go in a solid way. So you want to take your advice from people that are in the know. So for those of you that are used to me, I always mention, grab a notebook, take some notes. A short pencil is better than a long memory all day long, every day, and twice on Sunday. And so, folks, first thing that I would write down is be very careful and selective of who you tell your dreams to. Something here, as a YouTuber and as an influencer that I have to remember, like I kind of stuck posting my dreams out in public in a sense. And in order to help people, in order to have this YouTube channel, I have to put my dreams and my goals and my life a little bit on display. But folks, if you're not an influencer, if you're just trying to change your life, then I would recommend that you're very, very careful about who you share your dreams and your goals with. There's nothing worse than going out and talking around town about all of the things that you're going to accomplish and how you're going to be rich in the next 12 months and all of those things. And then have all of these people, coming at you and, once again, trying to steal your dream. And sometimes, these people can be very effective. I've had multiple instances where, luckily for me, I had some really good people that I was around too, but I've had some instances where people close to me, almost stole my dream. And sometimes they were people that I really, really love and respect and admired. And, in some cases, like I don't want to say anything poor about my father by any means. My dad was my hero, an incredible, incredible man. He's the one that got me on this journey. But even he didn't dream and think anywhere near as big as I started to. So when I started to imagine, like something that I really like the idea of in the future is owning a private jet, or at least being able to fly private whenever I want to. And, at one point in time, I was kind of sharing this dream with my dad. And my dad, when I kind of got done talking about, I was kind of going through a visualization. I did a visualization for about 10 or 15 minutes a day, kind of dreaming about the house that I was going to live in. Had a little bit of had a water slide coming out of the balcony of where my bedroom was up on the top floor, water slide that went down into a nice big swimming pool. I've always had this dream of a swimming pool that starts from kind of inside the house, where there's like an indoor portion of the swimming pool and a patio and a deck and all of that that's kind of under some covered area. And then there's literally like a glass wall that comes down and almost touches the water. And then the swimming pool goes out and extends into the yard. And it's got a really, it's got a great deep end for diving, and it's big enough to where you can really exercise in it. And, anyways, I used to do this. I still do, this visualization. And anyways, I went through and I kind of shared this visualization with my dad. And at the end of it, he's like, man, why do you need that much stuff? Why do you need a private jet? Like, why do you blah, 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 blah? And I got mad at him. Me and my dad, I didn't get mad at him very often. I didn't even get mad. It like more hurt my feelings and stuff than anything. But I was like, wow, Dad, you're the last person in the world that I would have expected to, try to steal my dream. And we had a good conversation about it. We got it hashed out, but luckily I had the awareness, and I wasn't, and it didn't derail me. And he came around to my way of thinking. But my point is, folks, is if I was early in my journey in life and I hadn't read some of the books that I've read, if I hadn't, trained my mind and been on the lookout, been hyper vigilant for these dream stealers, it would have been very, very easy to say, man, yeah, I guess I'm dreaming too big. I need to shrink my life down. And you're going to have that happen to you in life. A lot of the people that are dream stealers are well-intentioned, but you're also going to have the people that just don't want to see you do better than them. And they may not even realize that they're doing it intentionally, but there's going to be a lot of folks out there that are supportive of you and that are happy for you until you start reaching your dreams and achieving your goals and basically almost making them look bad in a sense, because they're not out there creating their dream life like you are. And so they start to feel badly about themselves. And let's face it, hey, you went to the same high school with these folks. Maybe you got the same job as some of them. And they're like, when you start achieving and having this better life and you're ready to quit your job and don't need the 9 to 5, that shines a spotlight on them. And when it really comes down to it, they have nothing to hide behind. Most people always have excuses why they haven't been successful. It's never their fault. It's always their circumstances, or, if the boss would pay them more, or if inflation wasn't so high, if Biden hadn't won, the presidency, or if Trump hadn't won the presidency, or if so-and-so wasn't doing this, and if so-and-so wasn't doing that. Most people, have excuse-itis. They can come up with 100 reasons why they never became as successful as they thought they were going to be when they were young. 99% of the time, it's never their fault. What happens is when you go out and you're very similar to them and you go out and have success, that's going to inspire the right people. The right people are going to go, man, if Brad Varnell, bald-headed, kind of overweight, didn't graduate from high school. I don't know if I've talked about that a whole lot, but I'm not embarrassed of it. I hated school. You couldn't pay me like $1 million a year to go back to school. Like, I would rather go have a regular job. Like, I'd almost rather work at McDonald's than go back to school. I just hate school. I never liked it. I couldn't wait to get out of school. I quit through my sophomore year. I quit high school after my sophomore year. So if I can do it, you can do it. But at the same time, folks, there's also going to be the wrong people that when they see you having success and that shines a spotlight on their lack of success, they're going to want to pull you back down and drag you back into the life that you're trying so hard to get away from. So I know I'm, beating a dead horse in a way, but rule number 1, protect your dream. Be very careful. Hopefully you have at least 1 or 2 people in your life that support you and that are positive and that are uplifting and that you can share your dreams with. It's great to have a couple of people out there that know what you're trying to accomplish, so that you've got a little bit of accountability. But at the same time, you don't need to go out and tell 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 people what your dream is and what your plans are. So real quick, let's get into, this market crash. And the other part of protecting your dream has to do with understanding what is going on right now in the world and with crypto, and realizing that it's just kind of part of the process and that it's okay. So let me jump over here to let me add CoinGecko to the screen. It looks like it's popping up okay for us. Everybody can see CoinGecko. And let me switch over here then. So you can see right now, I'm going to refresh my page. Bitcoin is sitting at $64,500. And, if we scroll down, okay, that's just Bitcoin itself. So, Bitcoin, if we look at it here, over the last, 30 days is down 5%. Over the last 10 days, it's down, or 7 days, it's down 10%. And the main page that I wanted to go to was here we go. So as you scroll down here, folks, you kind of see this sea of red. And for those of you that are newer to crypto, I understand that this can be very, very unnerving, that it's not normal in most crypto or most investment vehicles. It's not normal to see numbers like this. I know here in the United States, we have a mechanism in our stock markets where if they crash too hard, too fast, it gets shut off. Like, they literally will stop the markets and suspend trading until the next day. And I don't know exactly where those numbers are at. It'd probably be pretty easy for me to Google. Maybe I should educate myself on that, but I'm not too worried about it. I don't really need to know the exact numbers, but my point is, people that are used to investing in the traditional method, the traditional, stock market and stuff, a decline like this is pretty crazy. It's not normal. And, something like a Microsoft or a Tesla or an Amazon just going down by 3 or 4% can just absolutely make people, lose their minds. And so when you see here some of the top tokens like Solana down 21% for the last 7 days, XRP down 19% for the last 7 days. Look at this, Dogecoin down 24.5%, Cardano down 23%, Avalanche 26.5%. It just goes on and on and on. One of my favorite tokens for this bull run, Polkadot down 25% for the last, week. And especially if you've been investing in Polkadot, say for the last 3 or 4 months, I want to say, let's click on Polkadot here real quick. So if we click on Polkadot and we go out to the 3-month chart, you can see Polkadot was right down here at about $6.11 on January 23rd. So here you were excited. Somebody like myself might have mentioned Polkadot and talked about what a great investment they thought it was going to be during the next bull market. So you started buying it here at around $6, and it jumped up to, $6, $7, and you're buying it through here and, wondering when it's ever going to go up. And then all of a sudden here you're seeing, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. It's February 16th, a little over a month, and it's up to, 7, and then boom. Right here, it goes all the way up to around $11. So you bought in at $6 or $7, you're up, 50, 60, 70%. And you're thinking, hey, you're on your way to this crypto wealth, this dream. You're thinking about being able to tell your boss that you can't afford to work there anymore. And then all of a sudden, boom, in just a few short days, you're back down here to $6. And you're like, what in the world is going on? What a waste of time this last 3 months has been. And folks, I've been there. And that's one of the reasons it's so important to find a couple people that you really love, influencer wise, cryptocurrency wise, and stick with the people that have been there. If I'm not your guy, if I'm not, the right speed or the right style for you, I totally understand. And there's a lot of incredible crypto YouTubers out there. So don't feel bad for a second if you're tired of listening to my voice and I'm not the one that you want to learn from. But in general, go find yourself somebody that's been through the fire. The one thing that I do have going for me is that I got involved in this crazy crypto, way back in 2017. And so I experienced, the bull market at the end of 17 going into 18. And then I got to ride out that bear market in 18, 19, and 20. And then I got to experience the incredible euphoria and the bull market of 20 and 21. And then I experienced the crazy bear market again in 22 and 20, the rest of 21 and all of 22 and 23. And now we've had some fun times in 2024. But I guess the main thing, the point that I really want to drive home, folks, is that we are in what is happening right now in crypto is absolutely supposed to be happening. Most people don't understand it, but what happened over the last few months is totally unusual and unprecedented. In every other bull market that we've had, Bitcoin never even came close to revisiting its previous all-time high until months and months and months after the halving. But this time around, we had the Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund. There was a lot of hype building up into the halving, and we had a lot of fun over the last 3 or 4 months, and there was a lot of money to be made. But the big money, the life-changing money, the quit your job and tell your boss that you can't afford to work for him money is still to come. So I've been telling everybody that I coach, and if you go back and watch my videos for the last couple of years, I've never ever said that the Bitcoin halving in April is going to move the markets upwards in a substantial way. I've always said that it's probably about 6 months later, because everything that has ever happened in the past, bull market wise for crypto, every time Bitcoin halves, it usually takes several months after the halving for things to go parabolic. So in 2020, Bitcoin halved in May of 2020, June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months. And then roughly in December, towards the end of November, beginning of December, is when Bitcoin started heading back up. And I believe, I'm going to have to double check these numbers. I get tired of just saying, I believe, don't quote me. I know I'm pretty close here, but I believe it was roughly January of 2021 before Bitcoin regained its previous all-time high of $20,000. And then from January of 2021 until about May 11th, I think it was, is when Bitcoin peaked the first time at 64,000. But even during that time, folks, every other bull market we've ever seen, Bitcoin has always had at least one retracement of around 40%. So even back in 20, going into 21, Bitcoin was at around 8,000 or so. It started heading up. It broke through 20, and then it crushed through 25 and 30 and 35 and 40, and everybody was euphoric. Life was good. And then for those of you that weren't around, or for those of you that just forgot, Bitcoin went all the way from about 40,000 down to around $27,000, what seemed like overnight. I honestly can't tell you if it happened in 2 or 3 days or if it took a week or two, but I very, very much remember Bitcoin running. I think it was in February or March. Bitcoin ran from 40,000, so it was double its previous all-time high, and went all the way back to about 27 grand. So that's over a 30% retracement. And then it had multiple 10 and 20% retracements along the way. So what people seem to forget is that there's huge volatility in crypto even during the good times. It never just goes straight up. And so if you're prepared for that volatility, you get excited by it. In fact, I wanted to pull out my phone here real fast and just give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. So I had a gentleman that been a big investor in crypto. We've talked a lot. We've done a lot of different things together. And he sent me this message. Even with all of my coaching and everything that I have helped him with, he says, wow, what's happening with crypto? It's just crashing. I thought it was supposed to go way up during this halving month. And I responded to him, totally normal. I wouldn't be surprised to see $45,000 Bitcoin. And no, the halving doesn't send Bitcoin skyrocketing until normally about 6 months after the halving. Never has Bitcoin broken its previous all-time high this early in the cycle. And then I don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but I want to be clear. Like, I'm not going to be heartbroken if Bitcoin continues to go down and gets back into the $45,000 range. I don't necessarily think that there's a high probability that that's going to happen, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me, because crypto does some crazy things. And normally when you're not expecting something to happen is exactly when it will. It's also, as you can see, the things that happened over the weekend, the war stuff was a huge catalyst for this downward movement. There's a reasonable possibility with the new, I want to say that it's either in China or Korea, one of the Asian countries is getting a Bitcoin EFT or exchange traded fund approved, it looks like. And so they're going to have to start buying up some Bitcoin. So there's a reasonable possibility we're going to see a pretty good rebound. But at the same time, you want to be prepared for both. And so the way that I've always looked at it, and the way that I've tried to alleviate some of my viewers' views is I want you to imagine that you need $1 million in crypto in your bank account in order to really feel comfortable having freedom and quitting your job. Or maybe you need 250,000, maybe you need 5 million. It's going to be different for everybody, but I want you to think about what that number is. Let's just say $1 million for argument's sake. Now, let me ask you a question. Does it matter if your portfolio is worth 250,000 or if it's worth 50,000 in the long run? So in other words, if you had built up a $250,000 portfolio and you're thinking, man, I'm just $750,000 away from, being free, and then this crash happens and everything goes down by 25 or even 50%, and all of a sudden you're looking at, instead of a $250,000 portfolio, you're looking at a $100,000 portfolio. How sick would that make you? Well, folks, my contention is, in my opinion, my belief is it shouldn't make you sick at all, especially if you're working hard and you're creating funds that you can be investing into the market. How exciting is it? You realize that Polkadot at $11, $12, if it goes to 50, that's only about a 4X. But if you are able to buy Polkadot right now at $6 and it goes up to 50, that's like an 8X. Goes up to 60, that's a 10X. I look at these retracements as super, super healthy, folks. It shakes out the weak hands. It gets rid of the people that don't deserve to create wealth. I've always said that cryptocurrency is one of the easiest things in the world to create wealth in, but it's also one of the hardest because you have to have the right mindset. If you don't know that that Bitcoin is going up towards the end of this year and the beginning of next year to over 100,000, probably 150, 200,000. Like, if you're not absolutely 100% sure of that, then of course, stuff like what happened over the last few days can be scary and it might cause you to doubt. But in my mind, I'm telling you, folks, unless there's some kind of crazy World War III or Jesus comes back and takes us all to heaven, Bitcoin's going to 100, 150, $200,000 in the next 12 months. It just is. It's inevitable. People have watched it for the last 12 years and they still doubt. When it went from a couple $100 to $2,000, when it went from 2,000 to 20,000, when it went from 20,000 to 68,000, when it went now this time all the way up and broke into the $73,000 or $74,000 range, for whatever reason, like, how many times does it have to happen before you start to believe it's gonna happen? So I used to have a business mentor that always would say 1% down, 1% doubt will take you out. And so, folks, you got to get it in your mind that this is the game that we're playing. The ups and the downs are just a total normal part of the process. And once again, it's a very healthy part of the process. There's 20,000 cryptocurrencies right now. Probably 19,000 or maybe even 19,500 of them aren't going to be around in a decade. All you got to do is focus on getting involved in the ones that are going to be around in the next decade, and you're going to create more wealth than you could ever imagine, folks. Cryptocurrency is the #1 transfer of wealth that the world has ever seen. I had a guy on Facebook, I thought it was kind of funny. He said that, hey, the government and all of these entities are buying up gold, and I know that gold has been doing fantastic lately, but he's like, if they're all buying up gold, shouldn't we? And I responded on the Facebook comment, I would rather be buying crypto. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've got a lot of money and you want to hedge and you want to put some money into gold, it's not a bad thing. But folks, I don't think that we're going to see gold 10, 50, 100, 1,000x. Gold is probably a good hedge against inflation. It's doing well. But if you really want to take a little bit of money and turn it into life-changing money, there's no place ever in the history of the world to do it like there is right now in crypto. So real fast here, I do want to go over to the comment section and just shout out a few people. Once again, I want to say, welcome again, Dave. Thank you for being here. Eric, I don't remember the last time I did a video and you weren't on it and a part of it. So thank you so much for showing up. God bless. Same thing. It's amazing how we have such a strong nucleus. There's just a handful of people that I can almost always count on to be here. And I appreciate you guys. So Vinesh, appreciate you very much for being here. Deadwood, hey, I don't understand how they enjoy your struggles and find disappointment in your success. Jealousy consumes them even with all their successes in life. Yeah, I'm with you, Deadwood. I think you're talking about, when I was mentioning, the dream stealers and the people out there that want to drag you back down into their life. And, in a lot of their cases, Deadwood, I just, I pray for them. I have a lot of grace because they just don't know any better. It's kind of what we're taught as kids and in the school system, and just, like there's a famous little clip of where a teacher is up drawing numerical calculations on a chalkboard, and he purposefully misses one, but he does 10 calculations and he misses one. Like he does 2 times 9 is 19, 3 times 9 is 27, 4 times 9 is 36. But anyways, at the end of it, the kids are all chuckling and they're making fun of him and they're pointing at the chalkboard, and he uses it as an illustration to say, this is part of what's wrong with the world. Here I am. I did 10 math problems and I got 9 of them right. And you all are just focusing on the one that I got wrong. And that's so normal with us humans. I catch myself having to apologize, to my kids, because I think sometimes I'm too critical, and I am better sometimes at pointing out the flaws and the mistakes than I am at acknowledging all of the great things that they do and all of the amazing things that I love about them. And so it's just part of human nature. So I give people, a lot of grace, Deadwood, but I'm with you. What do we got here? I totally believe Beam Swap, Once, Dot, and Glimmer will go. I think that all 3 of those are going to be fantastic in this next bear market too. What do we got? Beam Swap, do the numbers. 5,000 a day are being created. Eric, any thoughts on how early the all-time high and factors like the ETF will shape the trajectory of the halving cycle? Yeah, that's a great question. I'll definitely get into that here in just a second. It really could make this mega cycle we have all been dreaming of. That's very, very true. So although I don't have a crystal ball, Eric, if we go back over here to CoinGecko, and we take a peek once again at the market caps. So, right now, the market cap is sitting at 2.45 trillion, and Bitcoin is sitting at about 64,000, and it's a little over, 1.265 trillion of that. Bitcoin dominance is sitting right now at about 51%. What will normally happen during the Bitcoin cycle is that as Bitcoin really gains momentum and starts smashing through its previous all-time highs and running up towards 100 and 125 and 150, a lot of money will flow into Bitcoin, and you will see Bitcoin dominance get up to 60, 65, maybe even as high as 70% in some cases. But what will happen is at some point in time, Bitcoin will stall out. And then what happens is people start to take their profit in Bitcoin and they start to put it into all of the speculative altcoins. And that's when we really get, massive altcoin seasons. So to go back to say, one of my favorite tokens, Polygon Matic, as far as, a top tier token, has done amazing things in the past. If you look at Matic here, we'll go out and do the max chart. You can kind of see here where in January of 2021, excuse me, let's go back, January of, there we go. January 10th of 2021, Bitcoin was already pretty much, getting close to smashing its previous all-time high. It hadn't ran all the way up to its high of 64,000. But look here, we see Matic go from 3 cents here on January 10th of 2021. And then here it's only up to it's up to 44 cents in April. Excuse me. So April 13th. Yeah, April 13th here of 2021, it's sitting at 42 cents. So it's already done, a 10, 12x in the matter of, 3 months. But then watch how, just hyperbolic runs all the way up here by May 14th. It's sitting up, at $1.47. So my point is from January to May, roughly 4 months, February, March, April, May, 4 months, it basically did over 100x. And that's what you're going to see with a lot of these altcoins. And it came crashing back down, June, July of, the rest of May, June and July were awful in 2021. This is if you look at the Bitcoin chart, this is probably where you'll see Bitcoin dropped all the way back down to, the high 20s, low 30s before it made its, ascent back up. But then you can see here, it's, showing here back all the way back up towards the end of 2021. So, but what you can see here is once again, in May of 2020, April, May here of 2020, this was the halving right around here. Might have been May 20th or May 24th, but this is very close to the halving. So you can see from May, get rid of that. You can see that flat line from here. Here's May of 2020. And then it doesn't start going up here until all the way here in February of 2021. It's still sitting at, 3 cents. It's only done a 2x in that, 6-7 month period of time. So, to kind of go back to what I was mentioning, Eric, is for the most part, I expect the biggest part of the cycle to happen towards the end of this year. Bitcoin's going to have here in 4 or 5 days. And then we've got, it's April. So May, June, July, August, September, October is going to be 6 months. So November of 2024 through say about May of 2025 is when I think we're going to have the biggest portion of the cycle. That's where I think we're going to see the Bitcoin at 125, 150, 200,000, and that's where most of the real big money is going to be made. Yeah, you could have made some great money in altcoins over the last few months had you been in the right ones. But I want to make it very clear that we are definitely not too late. And once again, that's why I love, little retracements like this. Some of the tokens that I'm looking at, let me go back over here to, CoinGecko. So a couple of the coins that I'm looking at, that have gotten smashed, like I really like Solidus. And, Solidus is, it's up 8% today, but it's at 21 cents. Folks, this token was sitting at 50 cents a very short time ago. So its all-time high of 49 cents was on March 13th. So literally 1 month, it's gone down 55%. The good news is even if you bought it at 50 cents, you're still going to be in great shape. We're talking about a token that's only got, $119 million market cap that probably, in my opinion, is going to be worth a few billion during the peak of this bull run. So if I had bought it at 50 cents, I'd just be adding to my bag. And that's the other thing that's so important during this next 6 to 9 months is to figure out how you're going to make more money than you've ever made in your life. So if you're struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, and these dips frustrate you because you don't have any money to buy anything with, then we got to go back to the training a couple of weeks ago where you write down on a piece of paper, I will have, and then write down that number, $100 a week to invest in crypto, $500 a week to invest in crypto, $1,000 a month, whatever it is. We were talking about how important it is for you to get it down on paper and really be focused on what it is that you need to achieve. Right now is the time to go out and get a second job if you need to. If you're barely making enough money and you don't have enough money to invest, go get a second job. Go Uber at night. Go, do something. I mean, like if you're Ubering right now and you're only making, say, $20 an hour at Uber, but you go Uber for 3 or 4 hours a night, make an extra 50, 60, 70, $80, that might not seem like anything, but all you're doing most of the time during those hours is watching TV and doing nothing productive anyways. But when you start thinking that $50 a day, when it 10X's, 20X's, 50X's, you're not just making $50 a day Uber, you're making $500 a day minimum if you're taking that 50 and you're putting it in to almost any decent crypto is going to 10X during this bull run. So you're not making $50 a day, you're making 500 a day. And if it 20X's, you're making 1,000 a day, and so on and so forth. So folks, if you have plenty of money to invest, great. Don't change anything. But if you're struggling, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you've got, a husband or a wife, a spouse, whatever, that's like, yeah, babe, go for it, invest in crypto, but just don't take money away from our lifestyle. And you're like, man, if you're one of those ones that are saying, hey, yeah, I'd be rich in 12 months if I had a little bit more money to invest, you can either figure out a way to solve that problem, which is what winners do, what successful people do. I promise you, we all had struggles. When I first created my wealth in crypto, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together when it all started. And that's something else on one of these previous Monday videos where I talked about how I would start selling a little bit of a private sale. So let's say that, somebody that I knew that I trusted came to me and said, hey, I've got $1,000 worth of this XYZ token, and I can help you get into it, in a private sale. I can help you get into it, for whatever, 10 cents. Well, then I would go to all of my friends and buddies and people that were interested in investing that I knew had money, and I would sell them the token at, say, 12 cents. Which is still a bargain compared to what it was going to list at when it went public. And then if that token goes to 30, 40, 50 cents, $1, they were going to love me. And so I would go collect $1,000 at 12 cents. And then I would send it in or give it to my friend or whoever I was doing the project with. And now 20% of those tokens would be mine, because theoretically I only had to send out $800 worth of those tokens when it launched, but I was able to buy $1,000 worth of the tokens. So I had $200 worth of the tokens for free. Now, all of a sudden, when that 10x'd, I just turned nothing, literally didn't use 1 penny of my money, but I all of a sudden have $2,000 that I can now invest into some more crypto. And then you do that 2, 3, 5, 10 times, and all of a sudden, folks, you got $10, $20, $30,000 lying around. And if everything goes well, you got some pretty happy friends and family too. And the good news is, if it doesn't go well, you have good intentions, but if for some reason it doesn't go like you had hoped, nobody is losing enough money that it's going to affect their life. So I'm not having people, throw 20 or 50 or $100,000 cash out their 401k, and throwing it all into this stuff. They're taking a couple $100 or $500, something that if they lose it, it's not going to change their life. If you help them take $500 and they 20x it to 10 grand, that could be a down payment, on a car, or a really nice vacation, or the start to their crypto journey. So my point is, folks, you got to quit thinking about why it won't work, and you got to start focusing on what happens if it does work, and how can I afford it? Such a powerful statement. I talked about that too. So I don't want you to all have to go back and rewatch all of my Monday shows, but I'm telling you folks, the show that I do on Wednesday that talks about all of the cryptocurrencies that I'm investing in and really gives you a lot of microcap gems, exciting tokens that I think are going to do amazing. That's really only about 10% of the battle. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but at most, it's say 25% of the battle is knowing which tokens to invest in. The other 75% of the battle really is getting your mind right, figuring out how to overcome the obstacles that are going to be thrown into your path, because there's going to be a bunch of obstacles, folks. There's going to be a lot of things that try to get in your way and that keep you from creating, crypto wealth. So, and I've told this story before, but I worked in the casino industry. I was a poker dealer. And one thing about poker players and poker dealers is they're much more hip to crypto and investing much earlier than a lot of folks. So back in 2016, 2017, 2018, when I was dealing poker, I had a lot of friends in the casino industry that were starting to jump into crypto, that were starting to get their feet wet, that started to have these dreams and goals of financial freedom. And folks, every single one of them, except for me, is still dealing poker or, playing, 1-3, at the casino. None of them changed their life dramatically. In fact, I even had a friend that owned 3 Bitcoin. He owned 3 Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was only worth, $5,000-$6,000. And he knew that Bitcoin was going to do what it was going to do, but he had some bad habits in life. And he unfortunately put himself in a position where he had to sell those 3 Bitcoin when they were worth about $8,000. And to the best of my knowledge, he's still broke. He doesn't have, any of the success that he wanted to have. And it wasn't because he didn't know about crypto, and it wasn't because he didn't understand how fantastic of an opportunity crypto was. It was all up here. He was making bad choices, and his mind was not prepared for success, and therefore he didn't have it. And man, I can think of just right off the top of my head so many people that I loved from that job and from that casino industry. And we were dream building, and we were talking about how life was going to be. And one by one, they all let these dips in the market, or they let other people that didn't know anything about crypto steal their dreams. And so that's why this show, was important to me. Guys, you're going to have people coming at you, even today, right now. I turned almost nothing into a couple $1 million during the last bull market. And I still have friends and family that haven't bought one crypto in their whole life and that still think I'm crazy. When Bitcoin crashed from 68,000 all the way down to $17,000, I got an earful. See, we told you that Bitcoin was going to go to zero. It was just a matter of time. I sure hope one of my brother-in-laws, I sure hope you cashed out a lot, Brad, so that you can weather the storm that's coming and blah, blah, blah. Like, just even after having massive success in crypto, I still had the people chirping in my ear, but I don't hear them anymore, because I know what I know, that I'm going to be worth millions and millions, probably tens of millions of dollars in the not too distant future because of cryptocurrency. So my point is, with this Solidus, showing Solidus here on the screen, is that this is an awesome time to dollar cost average in and get yourself some more tokens. So don't get all freaked out and be unhappy and miserable when these dips happen, folks. You should get excited, because I'm going to guesstimate that if any of you were like me, you may or may not be positioned for the bull run. And so that's kind of when I was talking about, man, if you have a $250,000 portfolio and now it's worth 100, you should get excited about that. At the same time, if you had a $250,000 portfolio, you're set. You're going to end up with $1 million. So I could see with $250,000 why you would be super, maybe a little upset, but you're set. You're going to have $1 million. So at 250, 8,000, these dips would be a little bit more concerning. But let's break it down for most of us. Like if you're anything like me, there was a lot of time where I only had, maybe $5,000 or $10,000 in the market. And it really didn't matter, even at $25,000. I'll never forget when my portfolio hit $25,000 for the first time. That was exciting. And then it crashed all the way back down to about $10,000. And I wasn't doing the YouTube channel right then, but I remember me and my mentor talking, and it was just a number on a computer screen. And I always said, hey, 25,000 or 10,000, it don't matter. Like until it's worth $1 million plus, I don't care how much it's worth in between. And so when it went from 25 back to 10, that was an exciting opportunity to buy more. And so that's the other thing, folks. If you're like upset because it went from 25 to 10 and you wanted to spend some of that 25, I would, highly evaluate yourself if that's the situation. Like if you're partially upset because you were getting ready to buy a trip to Disneyland or go somewhere this summer on a vacation, with your kids, don't get me wrong. I love vacationing and I believe it's important to spend that time with your family, but right now is not the time to be taking, if you got a $25,000 or a $50,000 portfolio and you're taking 10 grand of it to go on a trip to Disneyland, I would caution, I don't know if that's the greatest use of your money in this time and moment. I would be putting off and delaying gratification. I wouldn't be buying any big ticket items. I probably wouldn't be buying cars and doing any of that kind of stuff for the next 6 to 9 months. But here in a year and a half, folks, you'll be able to start paying cash for your cars. You'll be able to start paying cash for your vacations. You won't have to have credit card debt. And so right now, delayed gratification, folks, is so important. Work harder, make more money, invest every penny that you can. This is a great time to cut back on all of your streaming stuff. Like, man, we got Peacock and Paramount and Netflix and Prime and, and 3 or 4 others and network TV and blah, blah, blah. Right now would be a great time, folks, to get rid of that. This $10 payment here, $20 payment there, $50 here, $100 there. That adds up into tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in a bull market like this. So once again, I'm not telling you to not have any fun during this next 6 to 12 months, but be, careful about it. There's a lot of great shows on just 1 or 2 of those streaming platforms. You can go to Outback and have a pretty nice steak and enjoy dinner with your wife, for $75-$80 versus going, to Morton's Steakhouse and spending $250 or $300 on a dinner. And all of those little things will add up. I'm kind of getting off the topic, but, I appreciate every one of you. I want to let you go and kick some butt and enjoy your Monday. Hopefully that kind of answered your question a little bit, Eric. I really think that we're still 6 months or so away from the real fun that we're going to have in this market. For me, I think that's incredible news. That means that we've got 6 months to accumulate and to position ourselves to create massive, massive wealth so that you don't have to go through 2 or 3 cycles to get there. If you only get up to 75 or 100 or 250,000 during this cycle, that's not the end of the world, but that means you're going to have to go through a little bit of a downturn, and then you're going to have to wait for the market to go back up in, 2027, 2028. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's 2024. If you told me right now that, hey, you're going to be worth $10 million in 2030, but in between 2024 and 2030, you're going to have to really, work hard and kind of grind and, maybe put off some of the things that you want to do in life, it wouldn't be that bad. 6 years is not that long. But folks, I'm here to tell you that we can shrink that time frame down. We don't need to take 6 years to amass and accumulate some incredible life-changing wealth. If you do the right things right now, you take and you make the sacrifices and put in the work and do the things that you need to do right now, you can create life-changing wealth over the next 6, 12, 18 months. So folks, I hope you got a lot of value. If this was your first time on the channel, please smash that like button. Help this to get out on the YouTube algorithm. Everybody that's watching, it's free to hit that like button. So please smash that like button. And please, if it's your first time on the channel, if you just kind of came across this, YouTube recommended it, and you liked what you saw here today at all, please subscribe to the channel. We've had an explosion in subscribers over the last month, and I think it's just going to continue to ramp up. We're well on our way to 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, and I really believe that if you guys love what I'm doing here and you support the channel, I think 100,000 subscribers is very doable during this bull run. And that's kind of my goal. Every day when I'm thinking about this channel, where I'd like to see it get to and how many people I want to be able to help create financial freedom in their life, I see 100,000 subscribers as a fantastic first step. Everything in between here and 100 is fun to watch, but the main big, real huge milestone that I'm excited to accomplish and conquer is 100,000 subs. So please, folks, doesn't cost you anything to hit that subscribe button. And with that, have an amazing Monday. And we will see you all back here again on Wednesday at 9 in the morning again, Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern. We are going to be doing a microcap gem live stream where we go through and break down all of the microcap gems that I'm investing in and excited about. I've got a couple of new tokens that I'm adding into the $1,000 to $100,000 bankroll challenge. So that's another cool thing about a couple of these dips is I'm adding a couple of tokens in at like 25 to 50% discounts over what I could have got them for a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to add those into the $100 bankroll challenge, and I'll talk about that on Wednesday. And then, folks, you also get an opportunity to type in the chat and ask me questions and have me look at tokens potentially that you are excited about. So you get more information about them. And then also it helps the whole community. Deadwood, if you're still here, I mentioned you in a live stream a few days ago, but I'm really excited about ICP swap. And I was actually able to get in on the private sale for ICP swap. I got 28 ICP in on the ICP swap IDO. And right now that 28 ICP is worth about 40 ICP worth of those ICP swaps. So I'm ahead about 12 ICP. And for those of you that don't know what ICP is, go check out Internet Computer, ICP. A lot of influencers, including myself, believe it's going to be one of the best performers during this bull market. It's sitting at 12, 13, 14 bucks. Its previous all-time high was $700, folks. A lot of people believe that it's going to be a top 5, top 3 token by the end of this bull market. So to create 12 new ICP from that, from that IDO, that could potentially be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So thank you, Deadwood, for bringing ICP swap to my attention. And folks, that's another token to look at along with ICP. Check out ICS, which is the whole ticker, the name of the company is ICP swap. So with that, folks, hopefully we'll see you all back here on Wednesday. God bless. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you all again soon.